Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Zach Carruthers. I'm a financial advisor from LPL Financial, office of James Rockwell and Zach Carruthers. Today, we're going to talk about the basics of retirement planning. My goal is simple. It's to help you understand the importance of saving as early as you can for retirement and saving as much as you can for retirement. This information presented today should help you see the bigger picture around retirement planning. It should also help you visualize what retirement might mean for you, both from a financial perspective as well as from a lifestyle perspective. So let's get started. We have three main agenda items on the list for today's webinar. Your retirement savings mantras, number one. Number two, 5 steps to help you achieve retirement savings success. And finally, how much money will you need to retire? Well, let's start out with a somewhat sobering stat. On average, Social Security currently replaces only 40% of the income that you were earning before retirement. Now, that's an average. So for folks in higher income brackets, that percentage might be lower. And for folks in lower income brackets, this number might actually be higher. So now you may be asking yourself, well, on average, can I live on 40% of my income pre-retirement? And that's a great question, and you should ask yourself that. You should also think about the bigger picture and other income streams that you may have during retirement. We'll dive into that a little bit later. When it comes to retirement planning, there are a number of savings vehicles to choose from, as well as investment options within those saving vehicles to understand and consider. Not to mention assumptions that you'll need to account for, things like inflation, Social Security benefits, your longevity, and healthcare expenses during retirement. There are also lifestyle decisions that you'll want to consider. Where are you going to live? Are you going to continue to work at some level during part or all of your retirement? It's a lot to think about, especially if you don't know where to start or how to get started. The good news is that this really doesn't have to be overly complicated. In fact, successful retirement planning can really be broken down into 2 different savings mantras. That is, start saving as early as you can, and 2, save as much as you can. The goal today is to understand how these mantras can help you take away the fear factor of retirement planning and empower you to take the basic actions that will help set you up for retirement planning success. So let's take a look at 2 ways that you can apply these savings mantras right away. If you Google retirement saving in America or listen to financial news reports about retirement planning, you may become convinced that there is a retirement savings crisis. The majority of articles and reports suggest that people are not saving nearly enough for retirement. Check out these 2023 Retirement Confidence Survey stats from the Employee Benefit Research Institute as well as Greenwald and Associates. So let's cover a couple of these. As you can see from the table, 18% of people are very confident that they'll have enough money to comfortably live throughout their retirement years. 18% of people. 46% are somewhat confident, and 36% are not too or not at all confident. 22% of people think that they're doing a good job of preparing for retirement. 44% are somewhat confident, and 34% are not too or not at all confident. So if you fall into those categories of somewhat confident or not at all confident, there are a couple things that you can do and that you should be considering. If you're looking to boost your retirement confidence, start saving as early and as much as you can in your retirement savings account. That's one way to do it. Let's take another look from a different perspective. When you retire, the cost of basic necessities as well as services that you enjoy will continue to rise. Here are some hypothetical examples when thinking about inflation. A gallon of milk in 2023 was $4.44. Given inflation, by 2053, that same gallon of milk is going to be $10.78. Now look at a gallon of gas, $3.28 in 2023 versus $7.96 in 2053. Those were everyday items that people consume on a daily basis. Okay, back to applying these savings mantras. Do you want to maintain your lifestyle pre-retirement in retirement? If so, again, start saving as early and as much as you can in your retirement savings account. Let's take a closer look at just how you can do that. Here are 5 steps to help achieve retirement saving success. I want to turn your attention to what I like to call the 5 steps to help achieve retirement saving success. Here they are, and we'll cover each one of them in more detail. 1. Choose your savings vehicle. 2. Start early. 3. Increase your savings rate whenever possible. 4. Don't forget about healthcare expenses. And 5. Seek professional advice if you need it. Starting with number 1, choose your savings vehicle. The most common retirement savings vehicle are employer-sponsored plans such as 401ks or individual retirement accounts, IRAs. They come in 2 flavors, both of them, traditional and Roths. We'll cover what those are as well. I want to turn our attention now to the employer-sponsored plans, such as 401ks. Here they are, and we'll cover these in a little bit more detail as we talk about 401ks as well. So, money contributed to a 401k is on a pre-tax basis. Any investment earnings compound tax deferred. Employer may choose to match your contribution by some percentage, so you might hear about, the 3% match, or even up to a 5% match. Usually they have mutual funds and ETFs as investment offerings within that 401k. And withdrawals are taxed at the income tax rate, typically in retirement or for sure after the age of 59 and a half. And you must be over 59 and a half to avoid early withdrawal penalties from that 401k. Now, many employers nowadays offer a second option for the 401k. That's called a Roth 401k. Unlike a traditional 401k, contributions in a Roth 401k are funded with after-tax money. So these are not tax deductible. However, qualified withdrawals are tax-free from your Roth 401k. So if you think about your retirement and what your tax bracket might be in retirement, if your tax bracket may be higher, then you might want to consider a Roth 401k. But if you think your tax bracket in retirement may be lower, then you may want to consider a 401k, a traditional 401k, as that may be more beneficial for you. Again, this is a case-by-case thing. There's not a one-size-fits-all plan to employer-sponsored plans for traditional or Roth 401ks. As of 2024, participants can contribute up to $23,000 per year to a traditional or a Roth 401k. In 2023, that amount was $22,500, so it can increase every year. However, the IRS does not guarantee that this will increase. An individual retirement account, IRA, traditional or Roth, is a tax-deferred retirement savings account established by an individual person. Typically, this is someone who is self-employed. IRA accounts are held by custodians such as banks or brokerages. And unlike 401ks, IRAs allow account holders to choose from a larger universe of mutual funds. They can also own many different types of assets, such as stocks, bonds, T-bills, CDs, just as an example. Like 401ks, contributions to traditional IRAs are generally tax deductible. Any investment earnings compound tax deferred, and you pay tax on qualified withdrawals in retirement. Now, contributions to a Roth IRA are made with after-tax dollars, similar to that of a Roth 401k, but qualified withdrawals are tax-free in retirement. So again, if you think that you may be in a higher tax bracket in retirement, then a Roth IRA may be something that you want to consider. Now, if you think you're going to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement, then a traditional IRA may be more beneficial for you. As of 2024, the annual contribution limit for both a traditional as well as a Roth IRA is $7,000. If you're 50 years or older, there is a $1,000 catch-up that you're allowed to make on top of that $7,000 for a total of $8,000. That is if you're 50 years or older. Okay, one of my favorite things, the rule of 72. So I want to show you a really simple way to understand how important it is to start saving early for your retirement. It's called, like I just said, the Rule of 72. It's an easy way to essentially calculate how long is it going to take for your money to double given an expected rate of return from your investments. All you do is you take the number 72 and divide it by the interest rate that you hope to earn off of those investments. This number gives you the approximate number of years that it will take for your principal investment to double given that rate of return. The earlier you start saving, the more opportunity, the more periods that you have for your money to potentially double. Now, it is important to note that the Rule of 72 is a simple rule of thumb and it can be influenced obviously by a lot of factors. But for our purposes here, it will help you at least understand the value of time when it comes to retirement planning. So let's dive into a couple of these examples here on the table. So if you expect that you're going to get a 4% rate of return, you do the math. 72 divided by 4, you get 18 years. So what that's saying is if you expect a 4% annual rate of return, you can expect that principal investment to double in 18 years. Now take 10%, for instance. If you expect a 10% rate of return, 72 divided by 10 is 7 years. It's only going to take 7 years, hypothetically, for that principal investment to double, assuming that 10% annual rate of return. The third thing that you can do for your retirement savings success is increase your savings rate whenever possible. If you can, make it a regular New Year's resolution. Look to cut down on non-essential expenses. Are there times where maybe you could bring leftovers into the office and eat those for lunch rather than going out and getting lunch? Can you be a pre-owned car owner instead of buying a new car every time you need a car? Can you lower your phone plan? Do you really need the added hotspot, or can you utilize Wi-Fi on the go? Opportunities to increase when you get a raise or a bonus. That is, increase those contributions that you're making to your 401ks or to your IRAs, or simply just looking around for a higher yielding savings account. 1%, as we just saw from the Rule of 72, can make a big difference in the overall value of your account over time. And finally, just be smart with your budget. Budget things and eliminate unnecessary expenses. So I want to mention another opportunity that you have to increase your savings. And it's really specifically if you're over the age of 50. So if you're over the age of 50, the IRS allows for you to contribute an additional amount of money to your 401k or to your IRA over the annual contribution limit. As I mentioned earlier, this is called the catch-up contribution. So for a traditional Roth IRA, as we mentioned, your 2024 regular contribution limit is $7,000. Well, if you're over the age of 50, you can actually contribute an additional $1,000 for a total potential contribution of $8,000. Now let's take your traditional or your Roth 401k employer-sponsored plan. The 2024 regular contribution limit for a 401k is $23,000. But if you're 50 years or older, you actually have a $7,500 catch-up contribution that you can make for a total of $30,500 into that 401k as a total potential contribution. So these are great ways that you can actually capitalize, especially if you're 50 or older, on adding, more contributions, more money into your retirement savings accounts. The fourth thing is don't forget about healthcare expenses in retirement. This is an often overlooked thing, but as of June of 2023, a report from Fidelity Investments estimates that a healthy 65-year-old couple retiring in 2023 will need about $315,000 to cover their retirement healthcare costs. That's a staggering amount of money. So whether retirement is a long way off for you, or it's starting to get closer, or if you're knocking on retirement's front door, start planning or at least thinking about these healthcare costs. There's a great resource from AARP, and that's their healthcare cost calculator. So go out and check it out. Okay, so we've now come to the fifth and final step for your retirement saving success. Seek professional advice if you need it. LPL financial professionals like myself can give you hands-on personal guidance to help you determine your retirement goals and how you should best pursue them. So let's take a closer look at how we can help. So, what can we do for you? Well, here's just a couple things that we can do for you as you prepare for retirement and start that retirement planning process. We can help you determine an appropriate retirement savings goal. We can help you factor in variables such as inflation, future healthcare expenses, life expectancy, and projected investment returns. We can develop an investment strategy to help address your long-term needs. We can discuss professionally managed IRA investment solutions that may be of interest to you. We can help you balance your retirement savings goals with other financial goals. And maybe most importantly, we can meet with you on a regular basis to track progress and adjust your retirement planning as necessary. How much money are you going to need in retirement? I mean, ultimately, this is different for everyone. So not to sound cliche, but some may need more and some may need less. Typically, what people are saying or what financial professionals are recommending is that you save enough to replace at least 75 to 80% of your pre-retirement income. So it really is important to look at your expenses and look at what you expect your lifestyle to be in retirement to make sure that this benchmark is right for you. So depending on your own circumstances or outlook, you may need more or you may need less. So let's take a closer look at this. Why may you in retirement need less than 75 to 80% of that income? Well, depending on how you envision your life in retirement, your anticipated expenses may be much lower than they are today. In addition, you may continue to earn some money in retirement, which could help offset some of these costs. So here are some reasons that you may not need to save as much for retirement. If you have a mortgage that you plan on paying off before you retire, you plan on downsizing into a lower home or a home that has a lower mortgage, you plan to relocate into a less expensive city or area, you plan to work part-time during retirement, you anticipate other sources of income such as investment, rental properties, you expect Social Security benefits to be adequate income for your retirement needs, or you will no longer need to financially support your children or other family members that you may be supporting today. These are all things to keep in mind and why you may need less than that 75 to 80% in retirement. On the other hand, with retirement potentially lasting 20 years or more, you may want to be more aggressive with your retirement savings goal. This is especially important if you plan on early retirement. So here are some reasons that you may need to save more for retirement. That is, if you have a mortgage or you will have to make payments during retirement. You want to travel extensively or maybe purchase that second home. You expect higher healthcare or medication expenses in retirement. You anticipate needing long-term care at some point in retirement. Maybe you plan on starting your own business and you want to provide some funding. You will need to financially support children or other family members that are still dependent on you. And maybe you believe that your Social Security benefits are just inadequate. Many financial professionals recommend that you strive to reach these general retirement savings benchmarks at various life stages. So please note that these are simply general goals and a starting point for your own personal retirement planning efforts. And do keep in mind that there are annual contribution limits to retirement plans imposed by the IRS that I talked about earlier. So for instance, in your 20s, you should strive to maybe save 7 to 10% of your annual pay. Well, if 7 to 10% of your annual pay is above the 2024 contribution limits of $7,000, you may not be able to contribute that full 7 to 10%. So that's what I mean about those contribution limits as it relates to these percentages. So in your 30s, strive to maybe save 10 to 15%. In your 40s, 15 to 20. And finally, in your 50s and 60s, try and do 20% or more. So as we end this presentation, I want to talk to you guys about one last thing. What does the retired life actually look like for you right now? What are you envisioning your retirement being? If you're younger, it may be more difficult to imagine what a retired life may look like. If you're middle-aged or older, you may have a clearer picture. No matter how old you are right now, it's always helpful to explore your expectations and concerns in retirement. I want to call to your attention the interactive exercises in the back of your brochure. These are exercises that can help you visualize your retirement in detail. That brochure, if you haven't already, just click the button above this video on the landing page and you can download it for your reference. And as they say, if you can see it, you can make it happen. Thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure to be here presenting in front of you. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. Here's my contact information. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.